Hi guys, thanks a lot for joining us again this week for ATN Stream. Every week we have around about 45-minute discussion around what's happening and the hot topics in the live streaming world. We also touch via Q&A with people over at Blab around other topics, other bits and pieces that are integrated that could be kind of influential in what happens in the live streaming world, the likes of other apps such as Snapchat and things like that. We discuss what the latest trends are, give hints and tips, and just general bits of advice for you guys on how you can improve the quality of your broadcasts. It's myself and Vincenzo Landino who host this show every week. And then we have special guests join us from week to week to discuss different topics. So this week, I'm starting off on my own. Vincenzo's been caught up a little bit and he'll be in, speak of the devil, he's bang on cue. Here he is joining us live. He's just had a quick call he had to finish. So we're now going to kick in. I've just been doing our quick intro there, Vincenzo. There's a lot to talk about today and not just live streaming with two major outages in the last 48 hours. So there's some exciting topics to talk about this week. It gives us some great content, right, that we didn't even have to think about this week. So
for sure.
For anyone who doesn't know, I'm just going to drop a couple of links in the side for some blog posts about this. So for those of you who aren't using Snapchat, firstly, why aren't you using Snapchat? And secondly, the Snapchat was actually down for nearly a day for some users. And bear in mind the statistics that were released for Snapchat of 6 billion video views per day. That's a whole lot of content not getting consumed for a day. So there's a blog post around Snapchat going down. What was the thing behind it? So what was the reasoning behind why it went down? Was it Snapchat? Was it Google's cloud servers? So there's a whole topic to be discussed there. So there's a link in there. And if you're watching on the replay, the link will be just down below in either the blog or on the YouTube channel. So that's one thing. Obviously, it's questionable as well because 24 hours before that happened, Twitter had an outage. So is there something more malicious going on? I'm going to let Vincenzo whether he thinks it's tech issues or whether there's malicious maybe attacks on these companies that are influential in the sphere.
Well, first of all, I'm glad we finally got back. It's been a while, huh?
Yeah, it's been a refreshing break, and we kick back in with lots of very hot news as well. So a good week to come back.
The Twitter outage, if I remember, how long the Twitter outage it wasn't that long.
It wasn't down for a massive amount of time, but it wreaked havoc with Periscope as well, because obviously you couldn't push your broadcasts out to Twitter. So.
No, and I wanted to make sure there wasn't another outage that happened. I didn't think the Twitter one was. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even notice the Twitter outage.
Yeah.
But do I think it's more malicious? I think the media, I think people would want you to believe that there's something else going on. I don't know. All of this tech and all of these. Everything is everything lives in the cloud now. Everything is in, we live off of other infrastructure. I was having this discussion earlier today with someone else. We live off of other, we're relying on like third party to ourselves infrastructure. So anything that goes on, we don't have control over it. And the amount of users, and especially with video kind of booming now, we have no control over the amount of data that's being sent and received. There's no control. And I don't think the big companies have a clue, as even Google has much of a clue as to the size of the data that's being sent and received. I don't think anyone really could have, when you said 6 billion views with Snapchat, that's 6 billion just video views. That's not even the rest of their data that's being sent.
And that statistic is now 2 months old as well. So
correct.
I dread to think what it is, because that was an October statistic. So
6 billion. And what happened after that? A bunch of brands that didn't use it now took it seriously. A lot of people that didn't sorry, my camera's not cooperating. A lot of people that didn't take Snapchat seriously all of a sudden take Snapchat seriously now. So I think there's just there's an influx of users, Facebook now using this, and this is, and I want to make a point here with Facebook Live real quick.
Yeah.
Facebook decides to roll it out very slowly. And I think now people that are intelligent enough to open their minds to it realize why they did it that way.
Yeah.
Because of reasons like this. With Snapchat having 6 billion views, with Twitter having Periscope, there's no controlling that. Facebook said, you know what? We're not going to get into that battle. We're not going to get caught up there. We're going to go little by little. We're going to roll it out 5% by January 1st, I think it is. And yeah, you know what? There's people that'll bitch and moan about it, but so what? That, you know what? Until you can come up with a better solution, you have to deal with what we're given. And I think that, I don't think it's malicious. I just think it's overpowering the infrastructure that we currently have in place. That's all.
Yeah, I think that we're over in Australia. I know you guys are lucky enough to have your unlimited data plans and things like that, but I was essentially the possibly the worst customer for a phone agency over here, coming from the UK where I'm used to unlimited data, walking in and going, hey, so I'm from the UK, used to unlimited data. I know you can't do that. How close can you get me? And the biggest phone contract in Australia is 12 gig a month.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, cool. That's a good start. But why would I buy in store when I can get 13 online? So he upgraded for the 13. And then I went, that's a good start. How do we get more than that? Because if I Periscope for an hour a day, it's potentially like an HD video for an hour is a gig that I'm putting out. So I was like, right, this is not going to be enough. Obviously, I'm using Wi-Fi in places, but I work on the go a lot. And so the quick solution for me was actually to go mobile. So I went for a mobile contract with 13 gig, and then they added a mobile Wi-Fi, which because it's a second device was reduced rate. So that was like another 35, but which gave me another 12 gigs. So I was up to 25.
How much you paying?
So, but that's including my phone. I pay 150 Australian. So like 100,
130, 140.
Yeah, it'll be like just a little bit under that because our currency is pretty weak right now. But yeah, and that's what we're paying. That obviously includes the device and stuff, but it's not a great solution. However, the service that I've had, because it's Virgin Mobile, it's the only company in the 2 years I've been in Australia where the customer service has been out of this world. Their customer service, they've reached out to me on occasions when I've gone, this is a great thing you've done here. They did a thing with a live music streaming service, and I tweeted saying, great, this is brilliant, love the collab, but I can't get it because I'm on the UK App Store and it's only in the Australian one. To which obviously that's not that, I'm in Australia. Unfortunately, all my apps are from back home. And because it was a live streaming service, they actually reached out to me and gave me a Tiki-Tech voucher and said, go to a real gig then on us, because I couldn't get the service. Like, there was no need for them to do that. Obviously, this comes down to brand advocacy. Like, out of all of the companies I've dealt with in 2 years in Australia, there's one company that I'll talk about proactively and tell people you need to check these people out. And that one little gesture there, I mean, their customer service is really good anyway. But that was just a whole nother level.
That's very cool.
Went, go buy yourself a ticket, and gave me enough money to go to a live gig. So, like that's how you get people to be brand advocates. And obviously they have partnerships with the people who are providing those tickets anyway. So the cost is minimum. So it's a really powerful weapon for them. And this is where the whole brand advocacy thing is massive. And this is obviously why live streaming is such a big game changer now, is because people can literally just jump in a scope. A big brand can just end up watching a scope, jumping around, watching the scopes. What's a busy one? Okay, I'll see what they're like. Okay, they're quite a personality that matches our brand. Obviously, there are other ways to get in front of them, but there are people who have just been picked up because they're doing it. Like, there's people who are getting speaking gigs because of it. There's people who are getting interacted. I know people who have had bookings from Blab. I've picked up clients from Blab. I'll just be doing a show and then someone will connect with me afterwards. And my conversion rate from live stream is still 100%. Every single person who comes out and says, I'm interested in working with you, the conversation is not, it's more, how do I go about it? It's not, tell me more about it, because they already know from the live stream. And so they're coming through, and it's fantastic. So I don't know, like, how's it playing a role in, obviously you do your streaming 15, which is a great idea to help people get rolling into that. And then your podcast touches on kind of branding and stuff like that. So you've got a whole kind of wealth of resources. So like, let's look a little bit deeper for people maybe there's some new people who'll be watching this maybe on YouTube and stuff who maybe don't know you. And so let's delve a bit deeper into you and your live streaming.
So, I jumped on the live streaming bandwagon early on. Well, in its current form, which is live mobile streaming, Periscope and Meerkat, and now there's like 15,000 other ones. But I've played with them all. I've worked with brands like Applebee's, Barilla Pasta, Tinder, DC United, Cinnabon. I've worked for conferences. I've done events. I've done. I hate saying I all the time, but it's true. It's what I've done. I sound like me, but no. These are the things that I've had the opportunity, thanks to live streaming, to show off not only my personality, but what live streaming can bring to the table for many brands. And after that, I started the Streaming 15 email course, which is 15 days of getting someone started on live streaming, taking you from zero to strategic streamer within 15 days. And what that's done is allowed people to just step back and assess. I actually did Streaming 15. This was, and Dawn took the course. Dawn is here. She was in Streaming 15, and I mentioned Blab before Blab even broke out. I had Blab in the Streaming 15 as one of the opportunities for live streaming or creating content. And I have to say that took people from not Emil was in here. Emil took it. Emil would barely speak in his first couple streams. He was very quiet and shy. And now, when he's done streams after that, he's been pretty, much more vocal and confident, which is a testament to the content being good stuff. But really there's no hook. There's no catch in Streaming 15. It's not to make me a dime of money. I just wanted to give people a way to get them out of their own box, but also to look at things for what you need it for. Just because I use Periscope or Meerkat or Blab or Google Hangouts, whatever it may be, doesn't mean I have to use everything. And that's what we see a lot of with a lot of marketers, is that they're on every single app, right? So every app that comes out, they go and jump on. And that's okay if you're coming at it as a futurist or a technologist that needs to be on the up and up. Nothing wrong with that. However, you can never really say, hey, I've given this app a fair shake, until you've sat back and you've given yourself, and I mean, it sounds so funny, but 2 weeks. So that's why the Streaming 15 was done the way it was, because from day 1 to day 15, you're focusing on one app. Well, you should be, at least. You focus on one app. And once you're done, if that app is the app you're going to go with, continue on. If it's not, if you want to try something different, try something else. Sorry about that. It's so important to look at live streaming, from kind of like that bird's eye view in how you can implement it in your business or your brand, how you can advocate for yourself, how you can advocate for your clients. I've worked with quite a few different brands. And it was always about brand awareness. They understood from day one it was about brand awareness. It was success for them was brand awareness. So for Applebee's, it was brand awareness for the Taste of Change campaign twice. For Barilla Pasta, it was a behind-the-scenes look awareness factor. For Tinder DC United project, it was awareness factor. So it was awareness. They didn't come back to me and say, well, we didn't get ROI on this campaign. Well, you weren't looking for ROI. You were looking for awareness. You wanted people to talk about you. You wanted buzz. And that's what's really important. And, now we see things like, I don't have anything out there personally for Snapchat, but Snapchat's out there. Snapchat's an amazing tool. Yeah. If you want to talk about that as well, we can talk.
So actually it segues nicely, because the two that we discussed at the beginning of having issues this week, with Twitter going down for a while, day before yesterday, and then between yesterday and today for us, Snapchat going down. We one of the things that we had that we've actually seen, and actually I've just dropped a link here on Blab, and I'll put it under the videos on the blog and YouTube, is it made people go and look at how they're creating content elsewhere. So Snapchat as a platform has actually shaped the look of Twitter video over the last 24 hours. People have gone to Twitter video and been creating Twitter videos that look like Snapchats. So they've been doing lots of short segments that all kind of connect together. So anyone who was on our Twitter this morning, like if you follow my Snapchat is very much me making food, coffees, going for walks, stuff like that.
Mine too.
And highlighting brands. And I do stop motions of making a wrap for my girlfriend for her lunch, right? Sushi was the one I was doing this morning.
Such a nice
and but I did that, and because we couldn't, before I went to prepare this food, I got my phone, I got Snapchat open, and I was like, why has stuff that I posted this morning not gone live? Checked everything, and I was like, hold on a minute. So then I was like, how do I get creative with this? Because I added to my Snap story knowing that once it comes back up, it will go in. So I still did the same, but I want this out now. So then I went to Twitter video, and they started using treat Twitter like Snapchat was a hashtag that came up in my feed.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, cool. And so I was like, I did 1 second segments of video. So it basically became a stop frame animation in the same way. And there were other people on there doing other bits and pieces. So there was, I'm going to just drop the Snapchat code on the sides. If anyone's on Snapchat, you can just scan that code on the side. The handle's AllThingsWare. So yeah, if you don't know and you're new to Snapchat, point the camera at it, press and hold, and it will scan the code and add the account. But that went down, and not all users were experiencing it. It was kind of not across the board. So people going, it's down, and other people like, I'm still snapping. So like, obviously it runs from different servers around the world. And so different people are affected in different ways, but it was important to keep everyone informed of what was, potential cause of it. Yeah. Was there any announcements? But interestingly, because not everybody was affected, Snapchat's main account made no reference to it until it was already fixed. So there was they've got a support account, but again, with a lot of companies, and I think this was in my eyes, it's a poor customer experience, because where am I going to go to complain about Snapchat? Snapchat's account, right? So, and there's like, I should be able to complain there, right? But you're going to get bombarded with messages. Now, if you made an announcement, you're minimizing the amount of that will happen. However, I understand as a brand that they might not have wanted to highlight that there's an issue. Correct. Right?
Well, I think it wasn't a global issue, correct? It was.
So I know there was definitely people in various areas of the States that had problems.
Yeah.
UK mostly didn't, but I think maybe they were just sleeping. And so like I know that Australia definitely, we lost it completely. Like we weren't receiving anything, couldn't message people, couldn't add to stories. The whole thing went down. But this outage is the exact, like this for me now is a case study of why you need to be on Snapchat. As soon as it went down, go and look at Twitter. Go and just look for Snapchat comments on Twitter. It is a massive barrage of people going, it's down, what's going on? I need to know. And that shows you how many people are actually using the platform. And I know, like, when I put that sushi thing out, I know Jenny quite often snaps me back about my food stuff. So I put that one out specifically for her this morning through Twitter, so that she didn't miss out on my food making. Even though she was live on her own broadcast at the time, I wanted to make sure we got that out. But it proved that the platform has massive merit in its massive following, and like the statistics speak for themselves. But Snapchat releases statistics. There's nowhere else for you to get that. As soon as you can see it for yourself online, and all of these people are shouting about it and complaining, there's your proof. There's your social proof that the platform is really, really active. So that for me was a really big thing, that now we can go to people and say, did if you were using Snapchat, you'd know that this, and now that's why we wrote the blog post around it. So we can refer back to it and go, it wasn't, let's slam Snapchat. It's a reference point to come back and go, hold on a minute. Now we'll write another blog post saying X amount of tweets around this hashtag were made in 24 hours. There's your social proof that their statistics are right, because What's to stop a platform putting out? It's not in their interest, but what would stop someone if there's no way for you to check the statistics in falsifying the data? And that for me there's the proof.
Yeah, Snapchat's definitely become something. It struck a chord with a lot of people, brands, marketers, seasoned marketers that didn't believe it. That even the 40, 45 plus age range that didn't believe in it. It's got the it factor that we talk about. It's one of those things that you can't even necessarily explain.
Yeah.
It just works and it's fun. It's fun. It's got that fun factor. And you know what? You're right. It's in the proof is in the proof is in the pudding. I don't know what they say in England, but the proof is in the pudding.
Same. Yeah. So people, the massive misconception is that Snapchat is a young platform and it's all, people who are under 18 using it and stuff like that. The statistics I know specifically for Australia, because a lot of the companies we're introducing to it, obviously we're dealing here a lot, is we've got, like, this is obviously still back in October, 2 million users in Australia using Snapchat, of which 50% plus is over 18. So that gives you 1 million customers that are there. And I did a Periscope around this yesterday, so it's actually still live on our Periscope. If anyone wants to watch it afterwards, is discussing the one main reason why Snapchat is one of the go-to places to market is someone is choosing to follow you. They are choosing to consume your content. And when that loads up, the real estate on your phone, you can't even see the clock. It's the whole of your phone.
Yeah.
Like, it is the whole real estate of your phone, and they're on it. And there's that fear of missing out, that they won't look away. They don't want to miss. If there's a couple of snaps that they miss, they feel, like they lost out on something. And so you have their undivided attention. But at the same time, with everything, you need to offer them massive value. We consulted with a cafe last week, and he just was like, I had this chat about different platforms. I said, you're using Snapchat? He said, yeah, but I can't understand how you do it for business. 5 minutes later, the guy's like, I can't not have a business account on Snapchat. Like, as soon as he could understand how to use it, the big problem I think people see is A, misunderstanding the platform itself, and B, the discovery element and things like that. And when I was discussing this in the Periscope yesterday, it was one of the things for me was understanding how and why you want to be discovered. And by who? Because if you're a bricks and mortar business that only does bricks and mortar in your local area, you only want a hyper local audience, because you don't want people who are like in America. Like, it's great if they come to Australia, they might visit, but once they're in the area, that you want them to find out so they can come in. If you're a digital agency or you're someone who does e-commerce, things like, you want a global audience, so you're going to smash that all over online. But that's it, knowing whether you want to keep it local and not be posting it. And that's where a lot of people will make the mistake. They'll go, we've got all these people reading it, but no engagement and no people coming to the store. Did you put your snap code online? Yes. Well, half your audience isn't in your area. That's why they're not coming to you. Yeah. So you need to be relevant. Again, it's understanding the relevancy for your brand or for your business. And that's why we put the course together as well.
Yeah, what I've noticed is that there's so many marketers and there's so many businesses that actually, Dawn, there is my podcast today was with Lindsay Evans about hyperlocal advertising, specifically with Facebook, but there's some pretty good tidbits in there as well. My point here I wanted to make was that and you mentioned it with like the business you went into, Tristan, and within 5 minutes, he was like, why, I need to be on here. But there's a lot of marketers and a lot of brands that think, well, how am I supposed to use this? That's what they think, right? How do I use this? And what they fail to realize is that it doesn't matter if you're using it. Throw on the cowboy hat. It doesn't matter if you are using it as the marketer. It doesn't matter if, as a business, well, how am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to do this? It doesn't matter. If your audience is sitting here on it, that's the only thing that matters. And I don't know why. I don't know why and where this mindset changed. But when did it not matter where the customer is? The field. Have you seen Field of Dreams? The movie?
No.
Okay. So Field of Dreams, the whole thing is if you build it, they will come, right? That's the whole thing behind the movie. If you build it, they will come. Well, that's great, but with marketing, it's not. You can't do that. If you build it, they will come. You have to go where they are. And there's so many tools out there right now that are available to us. Snapchat being one of them. And businesses consistently say, I don't know. I don't know how to reach this demographic. What do you mean you don't know how to? We're telling you, this is where you find it. Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Every single one of these social outposts has a different demographic that you can hit. So I get very fueled, very fired up when I hear brands or when I hear businesses or when I hear marketers, which is the worst, where they're not pushing it because it's, oh, that's for kids. It doesn't mean you have to like it. You know what it is? They're afraid because they don't know how to create compelling content on it. And they're afraid to have to go to those kids or whoever else to create content for them. The brands that are embracing Snapchat, Periscope, Vine, they're the ones that understand, you know what? We may not be the best suited to create the content for our customers that are sitting there waiting for the content, but we sure as hell will go and find someone that can create that content for us. Instead of just
and I think that's it, is that the brand, like you've identified it there, that's where all this brand influencing comes in, like pulling influencers in to do it. I mean, like I checked out yours today and I was like, hey, hold on, this isn't Vincenzo on his channel. And it was cool to see different people, because obviously you're like, you cross-pollinate between all your own stuff, but why don't you do it with other people? In fact, that's about part of, we're actually running a social experiment in Australia at the moment. So this is a hot topic around live streaming again, is we're using a hashtag that's Scope Oz, and we've set up a website called ScopeOz.com. So people who are not using location services can be found in Australia. So the people who are good on Periscope and things like on the live streams can reach out to other people who are maybe new to it, because they can find them really quickly and easily, and then they can help them. So basically it will elevate the level of scopes coming out of Australia. And so it's a social experiment, because you don't know how well everybody's going to take to it. Is everyone going to use that? Because all they have to do is add the hashtag to their accounts, in the same way you've got things like, your tag tribes and your Khan scopes and stuff like that. But this is a very specific, and it's a very proactive set of people who are getting together and then reaching out to people one at a time and going, hey, we love what you're doing, here's a couple of tips, and then keeping an eye on them. And as their standard raises, going, hey, come and get involved, now you help us pick the next people. So like everybody starts helping everybody else, and it gets bigger and better. So there's a link there, ScopeOz.com, so ScopeAUS.com, for anyone who wants to check that out. But I know that hopefully Johnny will be joining us shortly as well. Chocolate Johnny has just actually snapped me. So speaking of Snapchat, snap me, and he'll be coming in to have a little chat. And some interesting stuff yesterday from perfect timing. Jana Steels of Steels.com, she's at a conference. She's in a conference at the moment, and she said, so I'm going to reveal a couple of the statistics, but I want her to just express it really. Like yesterday was that they asked the room full of people who are working in the digital marketing space who was using various platforms. And I'm not even going to give you the stats. I'm going to let her do that, because you need to see her face when she says it. Like, she came into a blab yesterday and told us, and I was blown away that for one of the platforms, she was the only person in the room on the platform.
Wow.
I was like, how do these people, like, they don't have to necessarily be proactively using it, but they need to at least be aware of it if they're in that space. And I'm like, none of these people even knew it. And I had a similar thing, and Scope Oz was actually launched off the back of a guy let me know he was going to this tourism meetup with Hootsuite. And I was following the hashtag online, couldn't make it because I heard too late. and this girl in the front row fortunately loaded up Periscope so I could watch the whole thing. And so I was watching, and I was throwing statistics up on her screen because she obviously wanted to get involved in the conversation.
Yeah.
And they got to Q&A, and I'd already on the Twitter wall asked questions like, what's the tourist board's strategy for Snapchat in 2016 and things like that? And like, are you integrating live streaming in your strategy for next year? Things like that. And then when it got to Q&A, I literally said to her, like I posted, and because she was also someone who's not actively using Snapchat, so I needed to quickly and concisely get her to convey exactly what I wanted to ask.
Right.
And so I put up, can you ask what the tourist board's strategy is for using the most opened app on smartphones right now? And then put in brackets Snapchat, 6 billion video views per day, right? Because she needs statistics to back it if she's going to read it out. And then as soon as I posted that, I backed it with 50% of users are over 18 and 26% of users are over 24. So you know that as soon as she reads it, they're going to go, oh, kids platform. Yeah. So I backed it straight away with statistics for her to read out. And everybody, a panel of 4 people there, all shifted in their seats because none of them knew what to say. And they tried to pull it back around to live video and things like that. And I'm like, just by doing that, it shows you don't understand the platform.
Of course not.
And we like just after that, I got a message pinged out like the day after the event. Hootsuite actually reached out and went, you seem to know a lot about this topic. Maybe we should have you on the panel next time. And I've actually invited me to go to the next one to discuss it, because literally I just was like, when you're passionate about something and you just keep, telling people about it. I was just drilling all this information, and their hashtag was like, I felt like I was kind of hogging their hashtag, but I'm like, you've got an event, create a hashtag, and it's not very busy. Yeah. Like you're doing a social thing and it's not very busy. So it was important for me to kind of get that out in front of them. And we also have a slight problem in Australia in the fact that, and I presume that the States probably has a similar problem in the fact we have tourist boards for each state and territory, right? Mm-hmm. But there's the problem. So Victoria won't promote New South Wales and New South Wales won't promote Victoria. They each spend their own budgets in each other's territory to get people to go from one to the other. Why don't you just work together? Like, why isn't there a general Australia tourist board like that overarches everything and does that? And so I was like, you can try and train these people, or you can just do it better. Because when you do it better, who are they going to ask anyway? Yep. They're going to come to you to ask for the information. So that's kind of a bit of the concept behind it. If that social experiment takes off, it will start with 10 scopers, and quite quickly it will go from 10 up to 100. And you think about what the social impact is of 100 people all scoping around a specific topic. Mm-hmm. Suddenly you're going to get noticed, whether you're trying to or not. And then, that's the point at which they go, hey, we need to get on board with that. And that's the concept behind it. So I'm super pumped for it. And
that's awesome.
I made 2 periscopes, didn't really announce it, added the hashtag to my own scopes, and I did 2 quick, like 5-10 minute scopes. And then within the next 24 hours, because we're tracking the hashtag, 200 plus tweets in the first 24 hours using that hashtag, which was like, cool. Now I can bring in all those handles and reach out to them and say to them, proactively tell other people. Yeah, like if you go into someone's scope and they're in Australia, tell them about it. And so people are now going and they're adding to their own, and then people come in and go, what's this scope Oz? And so they just mention it. And I loaded up 48 hours into the project, and the first 3 periscopes that I loaded were all people actually talking about the Scope Oz project. And I was like, that's the social experiment proving itself. Cool. Blake Croft's in the house. So we were talking about the Snapchat outage. So I'm going to open up the seat if you're free, man, jump in the seat. And Jana, when you're free, also feel free to call in. Because, we were just talking about the outage and how Snapchat had actually proved its worth, and the social proof is now there on Twitter with the conversation around it. So, I'd love to get Blake's input. I mean, I've actually still got messages in from Blake that I haven't listened to yet because I was on here. We had to go live.
Sorry, Blake.
So that's good. So Blake, if you're free, man, jump in, grab a seat. So any other noteworthy news that while we're just waiting for Blake and Jana to join us? Anything on your radar that you think we should be discussing and stuff?
I mean, Facebook Live's out, so for live streaming news, the Facebook Live is there, and I think that's going to be a game changer, in my opinion. You're opening up to masses, so it'll be good. I think initially it's going to be good for. It's going to be great for everybody that's streaming. Because what will happen is, no, I haven't, Blake. No, I haven't. But what it'll do is it'll bring awareness. And once everybody is doing more live streaming and there's more awareness, or brands around, brands that are understanding it, and businesses and individuals that understand live streaming, it can only be better for all of us. So I think it's good that Facebook finally got involved here. I think that'll kind of give Periscope a little kick in the pants to ensure that, like somebody said to me the other day, or no, today, I think it was Lindsay Evans. She said, "Oh, Periscope, they talk to you, they reach out, they respond to your messages." And I said, "Really?" Because in the beginning, Periscope they were impossible to get a hold of. Now, all of a sudden, she's saying, "Oh, they're helpful." So, found that very interesting to hear that. So maybe they're kind of trying to get a leg up somewhere, which is good. Yeah. This is good. This is all good news. So I think that Facebook will eventually overtake all these other apps, but either way, it's good for everybody that's streaming in general.
Yeah. I mean, one for me, the misconception around the whole Snapchat platform, and people saying it's really young. I want to hat tip my mum. She's a fairly new user to it, but my mum is on Snapchat at the age of 65, and she's quite active. She periscopes and stuff as well, and she's been teaching other people. So someone who's 65 teaching people who are like in their early 20s how to use these kind of platforms that are at the forefront of tech is amazing. Hey Blake, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, awesome. How did you feel losing Snapchat for a while? Were you getting jittery?
Yeah, I was. And here's the funny thing. I wanted to jump on because I've seen it's actually a post Vincenzo made, because it was actually eye-opening.
Yeah.
That Snapchat went down today, because Vincenzo put on Facebook, he was like, so you businesses using Snapchat, how do you feel this morning? And it's so true, and he said, don't put in my terms, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Have your own owned space. And that's so true, because, if I were to base everything that I do on Snapchat, who am I when Snapchat's on? And I think that's a very important topic to kind of discuss, is the fact that it's so important to have that owned space. Because if something like that were to ever happen to, heaven forbid, Facebook, where would we be?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of users that'll go on and they'll direct everybody over to their Periscope page or their find me here, find me there. What strikes me as very funny, and this is interesting, is those that now, we all do it. And somebody said to me on my own website, "Oh, well, your social icons are too small." And I said, "No, they're not. They're exactly where I want them to be." And they're like, "What do you mean? Don't you can, Jan, I think Jana wants to come in, by the way. Tristan.
Yeah, well, I'm going to unlock this so she can jump in.
People are, they're too small. They're too small. I said, no, they're not, because once I get people to my website, it's my job to keep them there. That's kind of my ultimate goal, is to get them there, to get them onto my site, to my page, to read my content, not to be cluttered. Oh, we're joined by the ever talented and super intelligent Jana. How are you?
Well,
good. How was your conference? No, cannot really hear you.
So the Wi-Fi is not good there, apparently.
She's in Utah.
She did say that there was issues. I'm getting really glitchy audio on my end. I'm not sure if anyone else has got better.
I bet you there's a lot of bandwidth sharing over there in Utah.
Totally. I'll be back.
No, but Blake, it's a good point. Like there's a lot of people that don't focus on. I mean, think about this. How many people don't have their own like solid blog?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And how many people don't have their own? They blog on everything but their own site. They blog on Medium, on LinkedIn, and I do too. But I put it on my website as well, or my show notes, which are a mini blog for the podcast. Those go over to LinkedIn and they go everywhere else, but after the fact, right? I focus on sending people over to the website. Hey, JS, how are you?
Yeah, I think that's important.
I mean,
someone posted in the comments there, Dueling Designs, that it's not about the platform, but the community. You could have the main thing is that you get your community to your website so that then you can grow your, of course, through different things of like your email list, things of that nature. But you're growing that community through something that you own, not on a shared medium, even like this. So it's Sorry, I kind of interrupted you, Kristen. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's all good. I was just going to say that anyone who watches any of my stuff will know how hot I am on repurposing. And like everyone says, should I be Meerkat? Should I be Periscope? Should I be Snapchat? I haven't got time to do all of them. Firstly, time management. Sort it out. It's only time management and the right tools in order to be able to do the things you need to be able to do, or reaching out to people. So you start by exchanging your time for results. Then when you get results, you get money. Then you invest your money in tools that buys you back some of your time. And then when you get to a point, employing someone else to do it. So it gives you all the time back. So it's a kind of gradual process to get to it. But the kind of key thing with it is you use them all as they're meant to be used, right? Use them within their own platform, but always think, and this is one that Johnny always calls me out on. So if he joins us, I'm sure he'll heckle me on this, is he always says, you're so serious online and you're not in person. Like, why is that? And I said, everything I'm creating is content that is deliberately it's very curated for reuse. Like this, as soon as this show finishes, this show is going to be on YouTube channel so that it can be discovered somewhere else. And it means if, heaven forbid, Lab disappeared, I've still got it. It would then also be downloaded and saved on in the cloud on my own storage. So I have it in multiple places. So if any of those collapse, it's good. Same with Snapchat. Like Blake can attest to this. I put up when Snapchat went down today, I not only did my Twitter style video in a Snapchat style, I then went, hey, for those of you who are missing Snapchat, here's my Snapchat from yesterday. And I reposted yesterday's video for Twitter users to watch in case they were getting withdrawal from Snapchat, because I've got that. And every day I religiously download my whole day snaps. And I was talking to Michael Stelzner about this yesterday, about how there's a way to do that, to use it, because he's quite a big one on the repurposing so that the content becomes much bigger than it can be just where it sits.
Well, you have to repurpose it though, because there's different eyes on different platforms, different eyes that see at different times. If you share something once on Twitter, it doesn't mean anybody's going to see it. If you share something once on Facebook, there's a longer shelf life. I mean, it's good to repurpose for sure. And Mike's kind of putting everything out. He's putting them all out there every time he's done with a day, he puts it out the next day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with that blog post on Snapchat going down today, literally, it seems to happen every time I report something down, it gets fixed. So that's the way forward, is get me to blog about it, because I literally posted it and 20 minutes later, the announcement came out to say, but by that point, I'd written my blog. I'd then written short blogs on Medium and LinkedIn and linked them back to the original post, because that's what you want. That's my real estate. Come to my website and read it.
Exactly.
But honestly, what was that?
No, we got really glitchy audio. It's audio only and saying really poor signal.
Poor Poor Jana.
I wonder if I don't know if Jana can hear properly. Maybe if you're on Wi-Fi, maybe kick off and just come spend 2 minutes with us, like on a data connection instead. You might actually get a better signal. So I'm not sure if that's an option, but if it is, that'd be awesome. I'd love to hear how the conference is going. Yeah, I'd love to hear how the conference is going.
Tristan, you were talking about how once you submitted your blog that like it was already back. It was probably through our Twitter posts today. It was probably already fixed, but at that point, I didn't even care. I was having too much fun. I was having too much fun, just like posting what we would post on Snapchat on Twitter. It was a great.
So what does that say though?
Yeah.
What does it say, Mr. Vincenzo?
I think it shaped the way, like I was saying before you came in, Blake, about how you suddenly saw people using Twitter video like they use Snapchat. It's the same as if you look at, so being from a photographer background and working in digital media, like I've got a degree in that, is as we were going through and studying it, like we saw the change of like how computer games affect how films are made. Films are made in a computer game style now. Like you can look at something and go, I'm watching a film or I'm a game, like just the way that they do things. And the same way platforms are interacting and changing each other. So Snap's changed the way that people are like creating and using, like putting out content. And so now they're going, hold on, what? So I can like record little bits on a Twitter video and like do exactly the same thing, but it's one continuous video at a certain length. And so now people are going, hold on, I didn't even realize I could do that, but it made them realize something that they didn't before.
I think it's also about I think it's with Snapchat, it's about the in-between moments.
Yeah.
Right? It's capturing, it's like a different view. As much as like, okay, live stream is behind the scenes, Snapchat doesn't feel necessarily behind the scenes. It feels more like it's like
in between behind the scenes.
I mean, it's kind of like those little things. Like it's funny because I even do it myself. So I was creating a story. I'm on Yarby's channel today, and I'm doing my coffee, or I did my coffee. It was last night on my own channel. And you realize like all the little things you do to make coffee, right? You take your mug out of mug out of the cabinet. You put the mug down. You know, you grab your coffee. You put your coffee in the thing. You know, it's so like you do all these little things, and it's funny because people freaking love it.
Yeah,
they eat it up.
Yeah,
those are those little in between moments. Because most people would say, okay, well, it's all about the end product, the coffee at the end, right? No, not really. It's about, hey, here's a process that goes through it. So I think I just think it's kind of cool.
I think one thing that it brings to our remembrance is the fact, with what happened today on Twitter, is that it's not always the platform that matters. It's the stories that matter. Yeah. You can do the same thing. Like we said, you put little bits and pieces together in a Twitter video and make it look like it came from Snapchat and do the same thing. But so the platform then almost lessens itself in comparison to what you're trying to create. So
yeah,
it's a pretty cool concept there.
I'm actually just trying to find one so I can give some people an example. So, like this. So there's a whole lot of food snaps, and they're all individual stuff that goes through. Yep. So this is a download of a Snapchat from. This is some of the stuff from yesterday that I put out. This is my girlfriend actually making. This is not me. Hats off. This is my girlfriend making laksa. So like.
I will say, Tristan, those are my favorite snaps to watch from you. Is when you're just like stop motion of you prepping your food or coffee for the day.
but the thing with that is, it, like Vincenzo said, it's all those little moments. But it's one of the key things is it actually makes you stop and realize how long that task actually takes. Like how many little things. Like if you said to most people, "How do you make a cup of tea?" They'd say, you'd boil the kettle. All right, cool. You forgot that you need to put water in the kettle. Those little elements that you have to when you're doing a stop motion and things like that makes you realize, like kettle to put water in and then put it on, turn it on. That's probably my most common snap is my hand flicking the kettle on. And like, then there's that, is it a tea or coffee moment? Like, is he going to struggle with a tea bag again today, or is he like making coffee? So, but it's like Blake can attest to this because it's different. Like each day I'm doing the similar task, but it's always slightly different because like I had a day where I really struggled to get the tea bag out because they now wrap the strings around them. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it makes you really realize.
Good job, Tris.
Second favorite snaps might be the slow motion closing the door every day. Those are just cool. No.
Do you know what I love about that though? Is that there's a transition.
People notice those things though.
Yeah,
people notice those things. Like you're known, and this is really weird, but you're known for slow motion closing the door, and you're struggling with the teeth. You know, that's you. You know.
But the thing is with that, like
people notice those things.
One of those things is it's not even so much like it's a big moment, which is part of the reason you do a slow-mo, is listen to what a door sounds like in slow-mo. I did it by accident the first time. I was like, that sounds awesome. Definitely using that again. And like Chocolate Johnny is using it the other way where he's speeding stuff up and like he's got like, the Oompa Loompas in his factory. Like, and he's using the speed up feature to make his voice. So it's the audio side of it rather than necessarily the video side. And I don't know if you guys have seen any of Alex Pettit's stuff. He's doing some pretty cool. He's experimenting a lot at the moment on the platform. And he's, some of the stuff he's putting out. And like, it's made me go, how do I up my game to like get to that level or push it beyond that? And like, show up and like, we talk a lot and like, same with Blake. And I send a few out to people literally every day. And like, I actually motivate one of the people that I work with through Snapchat. He wakes up every morning to a message on his phone from me on Snapchat. And he's probably like, oh my God, not again. Like, I just want to get on with my day. No. So, but it's, the ways that people are using it to communicate. Like, I've talked about it before. And I say again, me and my mum, like, we very rarely have phone calls anymore. We send voice notes backwards and forwards. And now I'm just kind of educating her on Snapchat. There you go. We can do quick video snaps backwards and forwards. It's going to do great things for my score as well, like, because my mum likes to talk a lot.
That's great.
Tristan just wants the high score.
But for me, it's not, because if you look at the story side of it, doesn't contribute to your score. And I'm all about the story side. So, like, I'm engaging with specific people and doing the backwards and forwards. Like, Blake and I had like a 2-hour conversation via Snaps the other day because it's also, like, me and my mum have been doing that on WhatsApp with audio before. That's the reason that Snapchat works, is the fact that there's an urgency because you have to do it within the 4-hour window. If I send it to Blake now and he's busy, cool. He looks at it when it's relevant for him, and then he responds. So we have a conversation. The only side to that being, you need to remember if you sent something what you said, because it disappears, or you need to save them when you ping messages backwards and forwards. You don't forget. But yeah, it's really interesting to see how all the different people are using it. Like, I've been having a chat with CJ Opera Americana this week as well, and she like does. If you haven't seen her,
she's the bomb.
Like, she spends a lot of time creating her content though, and she's drawing and she's telling full stories with audio, and like she's even drawing on videos. Like,
is what's that tune Tuesday up? We need to
So I woke up this morning. So Wednesday for me, and what's that tune Tuesday is normally Wednesday morning for me. I got up this morning. I was like, Snapchat's down. What? And I was like, because I was like, I felt really bad because I took a screenshot yesterday that I promised her I'd post, and I hadn't done it. And I was like, Snapchat's down. Oh, well, there's no point in me posting it right now because no one can go and watch it anyway. But it's like, she does this thing every Tuesday where she does tunes and you go in. But she's got a very, very highly engaged audience, and she's 19 and she's working with like companies like Disney and people like that. So there again, social proof that platforms like this are like really shaping the way that marketing's being done.
Yeah, no, I love I love seeing what gets different people kind of going. Like, what gets them, what are their in between moments? What are they looking at? What does their day look like? It's phenomenal. So
that it is. I have to jump off here, guys,
cool.
but it was great chatting with you.
You too, buddy.
And we will be chatting again soon. See you guys.
Cool. Catch you soon. Thanks, Blake. So I am conscious that we're coming up on an hour for today, but I'm just going to tag a couple of people up on it because I know there's a couple of people we want to see if they can get in. So I'm just going to chuck a couple of tags on that and see if we can get them back in. I know that Jan has had problems with the data, but I'm going to tag up Johnny as well because he messaged to say he wanted to come in. But I don't know because he's obviously running a shop and has a real job. Despite the amount of time you see him on social media, he does actually do a real job.
He does actually,
he does legit have that. So, so yeah, if they're free, if not, like we can always do another one. I know. John's in. Yes. Sorry to keep pinging you, John. We've just had Blake in, and Jana's just come in as well, but she's having some Wi-Fi issues, and we were just discussing how Snapchat's actually shaping the content that people are creating on different platforms, and know that you're doing some pretty cool stuff, and we just wanted to give you an opportunity to add your bits and pieces in, John, if you're free to jump in, because we were just going to be wrapping up shortly if you were not free. So awesome.
Hello.
What's up, Johnny?
Can you hear me?
Hey, John.
Hey, Vincenzo, how are you? Hey, Vincenzo, I want to show you something.
Oh, God. Are those little koalas?
Little koalas. Koalas.
Look at that.
And then look at this. We just made this.
Oh.
Jenny Q. Hey, Jenny Q. So that's the caramel we just made. Hey, Tristan, what's 10 kilos in pounds? It'd be about 22 pounds?
A lot, yeah.
And hey, Vincenzo, I ate this just for Jenny Q because I eat with my hands a lot, like a good Greek boy.
You are something else, my friend.
So what's going on? What's happening? I got pinged by the famous Tristan, and then I got the handsome Italian stallion with his cowboy hat on.
We were just discussing how the Snapchat outage today, overnight last night, gave the social proof on the platform. Obviously, to back the statistics that are out there, and just discussing how different people are using it. And I said, I was shining a light on your Snapchat as well, in the way that you're using it. So I wanted you to chime in a little bit about Snapchat and your thoughts and usage for businesses.
Guys, do I look like I belong in the bush?
Yeah, mate. When you come to Australia, mate, we're gonna get you on a kangaroo. I want to take a Snapchat of Vincenzo.
I want to head out to the outback like an Aborigine.
Yeah. We'll get you playing a didgeridoo.
All right.
I'm
gonna sing Waltzing Matilda.
Yeah, I'll teach you. I got upset that bloody Snapchat was down because you all know that I've been on Snapchat for 4 years or so, and I had the 3 best Snapchats. I'm getting my mother involved now, and Vincenzo, I don't know, do your parents have an Italian accent still, or do they? Yeah. So my mother has a really good Greek Australian accent, and and they wouldn't load, so I had to delete them. But one of them was my mother saying, I asked my mother if she loved me, and she doesn't love me. She loves her grandkids more. So yeah, I don't know. I mean,
crazy how that works.
I put it on Twitter, so I'm uploading them all on Twitter so they can do that. But yeah, anyway, so there you go. That's my take on it. I love Snapchat, and you know what, Vincenzo? I said to Fanzo the other day. I said to Fanzo the other day when he was on Blab, why all of a sudden has there been such an influx of everyone getting on Snapchat when it's been out for 3-4 years?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me why. Why do you think all of a sudden we've got people going, here's my Snapchat code, here's my Snapchat code?
I think we were talking about this a little earlier. I was actually just taking a Snapchat of you. So I think because ever since they released their numbers and there is a sense of how powerful the platform can be, there's now proof, right? For brands and marketers, they don't believe it until there's some sort of hard evidence that blows them away. Had Snapchat released the numbers and said, look at our numbers, we get 2 million views a day, people would have said,
big deal.
Good. It's all 11-year-old kids sending nude pictures of each other. Yeah. Great. But 6 billion views now holds a little bit of water. And I know even people like Mike Stelzner, he bought in because he read the article on TechCrunch, I think it was, or Entrepreneur or Inc., one of those magazines that said, oh, Snapchat's got 6 billion views. So now all of a sudden he perks up to it. And I'm not saying he's, God. It's just it's somebody that is very prudent with his selections.
He's an influencer, Vincenzo. And the thing is, look, I was talking to Mike yesterday on Blab and sort of going through it with him, and I put my input on him. The guy's got 480,000 on his list. So imagine if Stelzner says, hey guys, it's a good platform, I've tried it, this is how I could apply it to a business, or you could apply 480,000, do the numbers. Worst case scenario, 50,000 people join on Snapchat, worst case scenario.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden, from 50,000, you do the number, the social media just, the multiples are phenomenal.
But again, and here's what I like, I know I keep kind of saying these things, but as marketers, we need to stop thinking as if marketers are the only people on these platforms.
Yeah, thank you.
Because they're not.
Vincenzo.
Because they're not. I mean, there's so many more. 6 billion views. You think it's all marketers?
No, of course not, mate.
No, of course not. But with Blab right now, it is a lot of marketers. So unfortunately, Blab is not a place where I'm saying, hey, let's do a lot of business here. Yes, you can. Yeah. If you're in the marketing space to market to other marketers, fine. If you're selling chocolate that everybody can have, great.
Yeah.
But if I'm a media agency, I'm not necessarily going to say I'm going to put all my egg. And I know that I'll get people to say, well, I've made so much money on Blab. I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying that when you start to scale and you start comparing time and money and the value of both, you're not going to say, yeah, I'm going to go spend my time on Blab, because you know what? Blab takes hours. It doesn't take seconds like Snapchat. It doesn't take quick pieces of time. So to invest time on Blab, it's not just the hour you're spending, it's the hours that you're strategizing. It's the hours that you are post-producing. It's the hours that you then have to go and code on your, 5 to 6 hours. I mean, that's a lot of time. And if you're a brand, if you're a business, you may not want to live here. But you may also not want to live on Snapchat. So you have to pick what's right for you. But no, it's a good point, that you said that now there's all of a sudden an influx. And I would say 3 years ago, Vine was probably more popular than Snapchat.
Popular. Yeah, it was.
Everybody thought Vine was the thing to do.
Yeah. And you know what, Vincenzo, the minus the 22 and younger crowd still love Vines. I mean, my 12 and 14-year-old love Vines, but are totally addicted to Snapchat, and all their schoolmates are on Snap. I mean, in my son's year, he's got 130 school in his year 8, and he's gone. 100 and there's 130 kids. I think my son said 80 of them or 90 of them are all on Snapchat.
Wow.
It's big numbers. So times that just by it's 1,000 people in his school. So percentage-wise, look at all these kids that you can target and do it the right way.
Yeah.
So anyway, because Vincenzo's gone, I forgot what we were saying, but it's because he was in the middle of the conversation. Yeah, but no, Snapchat is, I love it, and I think it's just going to get bigger and stronger. I think the great thing is that these guys have changed the format. You can do a few tricks to make it a little bit more exciting. I mean, when I first started on Snapchat, it was pretty hard. It was pretty boring, but now you can do so much. So I'm going to get, I don't know if I told you, Vincenzo, with my new Snapchat code, I put it in the front of the store, and
I saw it.
Yeah, well, I get 4 people every day snapping that code. 4 people every day.
And that's local. I mean, so 4 doesn't sound like a big deal, but like Tristan was saying earlier, 4 is huge when you're dealing with a local, hyper-local marketing effort.
Yeah.
4 is not big. If you put that on Twitter and all you got was 4, I'd say, Johnny, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, exactly.
4 every day just from being on the front of your store.
And the thing, but you've also got to understand, the marketers look at big numbers. The little guy, the small chocolate guy, or the small bricks and mortar business who's thriving as a little business, we look at the number 4 and we think we're legends. That's what you guys have got to understand.
You're a legend, mate.
No, I'm not being, shut up, mate. I'm just saying that with 4, it doesn't sound big numbers to you guys, the marketers and the digital marketers, but for us, the little guy, I think 4 every day times by 5, blah, blah, blah.
Huge.
You know, all of a sudden... That's
600 people a month.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, what I'm going to do is... I did it about 2 years ago. I did
not 600. It's not 600.
A discount.
80 people a month.
80 people a month. I
don't know why it's a 600.
Yeah.
My math...
No, you're Italian, mate. We get it wrong sometimes. It's only in cash. You only deal in cash, mate.
Oh, when I deal with cash, I know. I know.
There's no making mistakes in cash, brother. But I'm just saying, for us, I did a discount code and I got them queuing up in the door with all the school kids. I can't wait till they're on school holidays at the moment. I can't wait till I do it in February the 1st. I'm going to do my next discount code because they're all back. They're all craving the chocolate. And then I'm going to do the numbers. I want to analytically sit down and get the stats on it, how many people came in, how many people use the code, to see what happens and how effective a little bricks and mortar business can use Snapchat, which people are saying, it doesn't work for business.
Well, they're missing out.
Yeah. Well, you try and convince them, though, Vincenzo. You know, it's so hard. It's so hard when I talk to my fellow shops around the area that you've got to be on Facebook, that you've got to do Twitter, you've got to do Snapchat. Mm-hmm. They're not interested. They're not interested. Yeah. I don't know how to convince them. I don't know how to show. I mean, I've tried to show them.
I also think it's just a matter of it's overload. You know, they think they have to be everywhere, and that just turns into it's overload. So that you think, if I have to be on all of these things, I might as well just not be on anything at all.
Yeah.
Right. Like, forget it. It's just too much work. I'm too confused. And that's what I see a lot of. People just they get all confused. They get kind of nervous. They freeze. It's like a deer in headlights or a kangaroo in headlights. I don't know. Does that happen with a kangaroo?
Yeah, sometimes you got to be careful of the kangaroos, mate. There's been some serious car accidents with those. So let me ask you a question. Why swap the Snapchat account? What was that about? I wanted to get you. Remember you swapped your Snapchat account with what's his name?
Yeah, we still swapped.
Yeah, 24 hours.
We decided to do so. Jason is an amazing storyteller. So what he came to me was, hey, you know what? I want to start telling stories for my friends' stories. I want to introduce my friends. I want to introduce my friends to my friends.
Yeah.
And how do I do that? And so we went back and forth, and he said, what if I do like a Snapchat takeover of my friends' accounts, or, and vice versa. So we decided we talked about this last week, and we said, all right, starting, Tuesday, I'll take over your account. You take over mine, and you just do like a day in the life for the day. And he'll do the same on mine. And this way people can kind of get to meet him, who I'm talking about. They get to know a little bit about where he lives, what he does.
Yeah.
Ideally, and Johnny, this would be good for you. The goal is and was for small businesses to do something like this locally.
Yeah.
With other businesses in the area. So Chocolate Johnny would give it to maybe the coffee shop down the street, or some other business, and you would, hey, get to know our neighbor down the street.
Yeah.
Get to know our, coffee shop neighbor down the street. Get to know our movie theater down the street. And obviously, it would take a community that is all in on Snapchat or all in on the platforms. But all right, Jana's here. Let's let her talk. But that was the goal, Johnny.
Yeah, and that's the next thing I was going to say to you. Like, I love what you did, because it's just so different. And then I thought, my next question was exactly, how do I apply that to the business next door or across the road, and make sure we're not, like you said, I want to bring in not the coffee shop or the chicken shop across the road that has, turns over $100,000 a week to come in and say, get on my account and say, hey, I'm on Chocolate Johnny's. This is where I'm in the chicken shop today. So I love that idea. I might see what they're thinking.
Yeah, it's a way to connect businesses, hyper local. Like Mike Balta said, cross-pollination of the resource pool. I did a lot of work with small businesses, and I still continue to with urban development and like Main Street programs, downtown districts in small towns where you had so many small businesses concentrated in an area, and the only way for them to survive is to help each other. If I'm a consumer, it was about creating an experience of, I'm not just going to Chocolate Johnny's chocolate shop. I'm going to go to the restaurant next door. Yeah. I'm then going to get coffee at the shop next door. Then I'm going to go to Chocolate Johnny's to get chocolate. Then I'm going to go to the dress shop or the clothier next door. And then I'll go get beer and
at the pub. Yeah.
At the pub. Yeah. It's an experience. But the only way for that to work is for all of those businesses to work together, not just, okay, come here. And again, because like you said, you can go to the big box stores, you can go to the strip malls, you can go to the big malls, that you have everything right there. You have everything. Exactly. You have food, you have shopping. But again, it's not giving back to local small business like is the foundation of most countries and most I don't even know the word I'm looking for, but
okay. I know what I'm trying to say.
She's there, but she lost audio. She's gone back to audio. I'm not sure if we can hear her. No. Guys, everyone who's just dropping props, can you just stop dropping props for 2 seconds? Because sometimes that affects the quality of the videos as well. And we want to hear Jana while she's got a little bit of signal going on. Try again, Jana. Okay.
Can you see me?
No.
We can hardly see you, but yeah, you're just a bit
glitching.
Okay. Sorry, guys. The way I heard sucks.
We tried, in which case I've actually got the statistics anyway. So if Jana can't say them, I'll actually read them out from what she said yesterday. So she sat in a room with I think like 1,000 odd people and at a conference, and they were asking about social media platforms, and obviously they said who's using social. Everyone's hands shot up. Who's using Facebook, Twitter? Most people's hands stayed up, and then they nailed down and they went to. I'm just trying to remember which way around it was. It was Snapchat. 10 people in the room, and then when they got down to Periscope, she was the only person in the room with her hands up. Yeah. So, outstanding that there's that many people in a room that didn't know the number, like didn't know the potential that sat there. Money left on the table, right? Wow. If you don't get involved, it's a free medium for them to go and use. So, if they're not leveraging it.
And I think Janice said that they're, even though these guys were senior up in these companies, why wouldn't you be on there to have a look at them as well?
Yeah.
Like, why not necessarily to be using it, but just look at the functionality of them all. I mean, when she told me that, I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that's it. And the thing is, the problem, I'm currently blogging about how small businesses can teach big businesses how to do business. From the elements of all the little bits of detail that sometimes get lost as it grows, or the fact that everyone thinks someone else is doing things and all of those kind of elements. But I think that people look to big businesses thinking that they have this some companies that they think should have this massive department are actually sometimes staffed by like someone who's mid-20s who came out of uni that they can get in because they know the tech, but then they're not in that position where they've got a team to support them, and they're in the same position as the one-man band where I don't have time to do it, and therefore they don't necessarily do the job as well as they could, and they've you think they've got this massive wealth of resources, but they're not. The focus isn't on that. So obviously that's like a sweeping statement, but a lot of companies that people expect to do better, like for me, McDonald's, I mean, like I've pulled this example up a couple of times, is I tweet McDonald's if I have a problem. And then they reply to me like 24 hours later after I poke them, and they're like, where did you complain? I'm like, on the account that you're replying to me from. Like, who's controlling this account? I sent you a message yesterday and you didn't see it. Today you saw it and now you don't know where the complaint is. Like, what?
I remember that.
So yeah, I mean, like,
yeah, but I look at Tristan. I understand that. I mean, it's we're talking about McDonald's is massive. There's billions of turnover. There's thousands of staff. Bit different from me. When I got a complaint from Facebook of my customer service in our store, that I got onto it straight away. I believe my customer service is one of the best. And Tristan's been into my store, so he sees it. I mean, the guy spent 4 hours there. I spoke to him in 5 minutes because my customer's more important. Tristan's not going to make me money. The customer is. And Tristan understands that's I'm not being disrespectful, but the guy just comes for a free bloody hot chocolate all the time. So
freaking leech.
I know, right?
And you know what? Sometimes he does give me some good advice. But apart from that, but once it was on Facebook, I got onto it straight away. So I don't get it how these big companies, big companies, aren't onto the complaint straight away, because they can bring down. I've seen some small businesses like mine struggle with a guy saying, "Oh, I had a pubic hair in the food," or "Your coffee tasted like dishwater," and they can't react to it. So
I didn't get any pubic hair in my chocolate Johnny chocolate. How come why wasn't I so lucky? Oh, Johnny.
I'll speak to Miss Australia next time for you, mate.
Oh, hell yeah.
If we're gonna do quality, brother, we only deal with the best.
Talk to her for me. Send her over this way.
I will. Just for you, Stallion. Just for you.
Whatever you can make work, my friend.
So yeah, but I mean, like John's saying there, though, the in those social spaces and stuff, the thing is, as they're scaling, they're not scaling the customer service level for the social media in the same size as they're scaling the company, because they think, well, we've got a department that does that. Okay, but as you say, if they get bigger and bigger and bigger, there's more demand on them, and if they can't meet the demand, your level of service is going down, and their number one thing on their 5 top aims for McDonald's is amazing customer service. Like, it's number one on their list. So you're failing at number one. Let's not even look at the other 4. So and they're it's because obviously, as a bigger company, I think they've maybe lost the focus on what those core values are. Yeah. If those are your core values and you're not following them, that's why your business is failing. That's why you closed 700 restaurants last year. Go back to as soon as something's broken, go back to the beginning and look through your whole thing. I was talking to Jana yesterday, systems and processes. Go back and look at them, because it could be the smallest thing that you tweak. One person employed to non-stop be available all around the clock to reply to tweets. Yeah, they're getting stupid amounts of them, but there are definitely times when no one is replying to them. But you work internationally, you work in every single time zone. So why is someone not available all around the clock to do that?
And you mentioned Jana Steels, right? I mean, her company is massive. We're not talking about a small company, but her customer service is one of the best. I mean, when you see her on Periscope and stuff, and her motto is "We ship dreams," or I think something like that. Yeah, I remember talking to her privately once, and I had an issue with one customer, and she says, that she prides herself as being one of the best on e-commerce customer service, and the woman's got a massive amount of staff and a massive business. So if Jana Steels or Yana Steels can do it, so can, you know, the next guy above her do it. So I don't know. I'd love to teach these guys how to do customer service. That's one thing I've been dying to do.
Well, it's the attention to detail that, like, this is exactly what my blog post is talking about, is the fact that the attention to detail when you're a small business, John's just highlighted it exactly, is the attention to detail has to be amazing when you're a small company competing against the big company, because that is your point of difference, is that, like, the customer service you get from a small business will outweigh a big business, because they have to, because they can't compete on the scale, so they compete on a different element, and so the service you get there. Imagine if big businesses looked at small businesses and went, "Oh my God, if we did that, like, think what that would do for the big businesses." Like, the customer service side, like, I'm obviously passionate about it because I'm from a hospitality background, so it's the whole, not just the customer service where big traditional businesses look at customer service and that's when someone complains or when they're in the store. It's the customer experience, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's Snapchat, whether it's Periscope, whether I'm in the store, whether I decided to send you an email. It's all the same thing. For me, I'm a customer and I choose where I go. In the same way I choose where I go to talk to you, I choose which shop I go to shop. So if I'm shopping with you, treat me well everywhere I come to you. And that's it, like, and they're not doing it.
Well, it applies also to guys like, you know, the digital guys who don't have a tangible product like I do. I mean, their customer service has to be bloody great as well. And I don't know how, Vincenzo, how you look at that for that service industry. How do you guys look at doing your customer service?
Well, I mean, for us, it's different. You know, our customer's customer is also our customer. So we have to look at more than just who we're interfacing with. It's also, so Johnny, your customer is also our customer, right? We need to understand that we need to talk to them. We need to be able to get your brand in front of them. So essentially, they're almost become our customer. So customer service for us looks, you know, it's very different when you're in service, you know, as opposed to having product, because you have to be just as responsive. You know, just because you're providing a service doesn't mean you can't be as responsive, but you also need to be creative enough to understand that it's not just who's in front of you. Like, it's for you, Johnny, the people that come buy your product, that's your customer. There's nothing beyond that. There's no layer beyond that. If they're buying your product, they're buying your product. That's it. But in service, you know, you're usually providing services for somebody else who's providing a service or a product for somebody else. So you just have to.
So you've got a double. You've got a double whammy. Is that, you know, you've got?
Well, we could. So here's the thing. If we're handling social, let's say we were handling social for a client. Let's say we were handling social for all Perfection Chocolates.
Yeah. Let's use. Okay, perfect.
We need to understand you as a customer and how you present yourself, and then we need to take that and talk to your customers as if we were you. But still, now that's training our staff, that's training our team and saying, hey, you are Perfection Chocolates. When you are handling this account, you are Perfection Chocolates. You are talking to Johnny's customers as if they were our own.
Okay.
You are handling every single inquiry, every single email, Facebook message, Twitter message, Snap, whatever it may be. You're handling every single one of those as if that was us. As if sorry to interrupt you. Interrupt you. Okay, so you're let's do the scenario. So you're running the show for helping me, right? And you guys, I get a complaint. Yep.
All right. As the business owner, and I don't know about anyone else, if I got a complaint, I'd want to also look at that and see how you guys handle it as well.
Of course.
So would you guys elevate it to me so I could get involved and say, hey, Chocolate Johnny, we got this guy in Chicago who ate your product and hates it, blah, blah, blah. All right, let's talk about it. Let's see what we're going to do, how we're going to handle it.
So there's an element of, you know, an escalation, some sort of escalation process that we would always implement. If we're handling social for and what I've worked with hospitality brands, hotels, large hotel chain, and any inquiry that came in from their customers, people that were staying in the hotel or people that wanted to stay at the hotel, would instantly, not every single time, but 95% of the time was escalated to either manager on duty or that 5%, maybe even 10% we could handle on our own because we could expedite it by calling up the front desk or calling the concierge or calling the spa and just handling certain things. But I would say anywhere between 85 to 90% of the time, we're escalating to someone internally. Usually we're finding the right person as opposed to trying to get, how much better of an experience is it for you, Johnny, that you're staying at a hotel or you're dealing with a brand and you don't have to call, wait on the phone, dial 1,000 different numbers to get to the wrong person anyway. Now you're dealing with it because we were given all of the direct lines. So we were given full understanding and full authority to say, if this type of inquiry comes in and this type of situation, you're going to go direct to this manager or this person or that person. Now we have direct access. We just have to make sure that the right triggers are hit. So it's fully immersive and it's understanding. It's essentially taking our people, our company, and almost embedding them into.
Yeah, you're part of our family now.
Right, but there's always escalation involved, and there's always the customer is always involved. If Johnny's signing the paychecks, ultimately you are going to know what's going on. And again, it's up to you as the customer. Do you want to know every single thing that comes through? Probably not. You don't want to know every single person that says, hey, now if someone says I found a hair in my chocolate,
I've had that happen.
Different story. If somebody says, oh, my chocolate was cracked or broken, you probably don't care because that could have been their fault. That could be anybody. But you'd be shocked. You laugh, but you'd be shocked as to the types.
No.
That happen.
Wait. I had a customer. I gotta laugh because see. I'm the type of business owner that loves customer complaints. And everyone's going to say, what? I love customer complaints because it makes me a better business person. Our business has been going since 1939 and I've got to be doing something right. I love customer complaints because it steps my game up. It doesn't make me complacent. It makes me improve my product and it makes me give my staff, the experience of what it's like. So we have a premium box. It's $49.95 Australian dollars, and this lady comes in, pulls up in a beautiful Mercedes. She's pretty wealthy, lovely lady, been shopping for years, and she says, John, and I wrap it for her. We put in a beautiful gold bag, and she drives off. The next day she comes up, and she is fuming. I'm telling you, she is fuming. And I know, because I've served thousands of customers. Yeah. She's walked straight to me and I give her that look. It's like, uh-oh, the shit's going to hit the fan. And she pulls out the box and she says to me, John, this is disgusting. How dare you sell me this melted box of chocolates? And I went, Mrs. Smith, I'm so sorry. What do you mean? She said, I put it in the glove box. I left it there while I went shopping and look what it is.
And it was what?
It's like a river of chocolate.
It was 35 Celsius, right?
It was 104 Fahrenheit. I'm thinking, she was lost it. She was like all over the shop. And I went, you know what I actually did? I just gave her a new one because it just wasn't worth the trouble.
Right. And you know what?
I literally gave her a hug because she just had a bad day and she just needed to vent on Chocolate Johnny. So I walked up to her, I said, Mrs. Smith, here you go. Here's a box. And she walked out and she was fine. She's still a customer. But, there's some of them who push you to the limit.
There's a lot
you must get it to.
There's a lot.
We had a lady, we made the smash cake. Vincenzo, the smash cake? Anyway, it was my mistake. I didn't put the lollies inside. It was my mistake, and granted. And I said to her, she was fuming. My kids are upset and stuff like that, and you've ruined our birthday party and blah, blah, blah. I said, oh, look, Mrs. Diamond, I'm really sorry. I apologize. I'm happy to give you a discount or come get the kids coming. She said, you're giving me a discount? That's not good enough. I said, look, I'm sorry that you felt this way. Look, just bring the cake back and I'll refund you. She said, no, we ate the cake. I want a refund. I went, okay. All right. Next, yeah. do you know what?
There you go. You can have that back.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do, mate? What do you do?
No, and that's the thing. You have to.
You just smile away.
You have to figure out where your line is, where you draw the line in the sand, and say, tough. Because the problem with services like yours and even in the hospitality industry, which is where I was dealing with. Just get her a new cake. Her bad reviews would be more costly. No, Mike, I disagree. You're right, but there's also a line you have to draw as a business owner. And if every time somebody complained, you gave something, reviews and food cost money. I do agree, but as a business owner, it's very difficult to just constantly give away. I mean, my family, we own a restaurant here locally. And if every time somebody complained about something, you gave, you just acquiesced, you'd make no money. You'd make no money. And the same thing, like I was trying to get to with hospitality, was that people will complain about every little thing. Oh, my towels. I mean, and everything I'm going to say out of my mouth right now is real stuff that I've heard. My towels weren't folded properly. I didn't get the little folded animal on my pillow. I mean, these people are infuriated over these things, not just like, ha, 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 I didn't get it. No,
like the horns come out, like Blair Witch.
There was people.
Damon.
There was people that this one gentleman complained he had very bad diarrhea. And he said it was the hotel restaurant. Instead of calling the front desk, he tweeted publicly the hotel. So we see this, and of course, and we're trying to go back and forth with him, trying to take it offline because, there's only so much you can do in 140 characters. And by the time we finally found, he wrote this entire story of what happened and how this is what tuna tartare is supposed to be like. Whatever. It's a whole story. And we responded very quickly. By the time it was all said and done, are we like, sir, what's the issue here? So finally, I think they ran him up some Imodium or something and tried to make him happy. And he was like, where are you guys? I'm in the bathroom. I missed the phone call. So the phone rang. He knew it was the front desk calling. Instead of calling back down to the front desk, he tweeted, I missed the phone call. Call me back.
Wow.
Bro, if you needed the freaking Imodium, just call the front desk the first. But this is what I'm saying. Like, people are ridiculous. Fire alarm went off in one location. It was I think it ended up being a false alarm, but there was a bunch of people that were blowing up the Twitter feed. Oh my God, I lost sleep. I couldn't get to sleep. And here we are like, well, we're sorry. We didn't even say sorry publicly, but it was, well, tell us, what happened. And then of course we found out more and more. And there's I think that with this customer service conversation can go very, very far, but there's an aspect, and Mike Baltus just said it, the customer bears some responsibility, but they don't believe that anymore because there's so many that just say, okay, here, take the free cake. Okay, here, have a free night stay.
Yeah,
okay, here, have a free massage. Okay, here, have free food. Here's a voucher. It's like you're always quick to give it away because we're afraid of these damn reviews. Go ahead, leave me a bad review. I don't even care. Go ahead, do it.
Yeah. And that's what sorry, Tristan. And that's what my attitude is now. As a small business owner, we've empowered these bloggers and these food critics and these guys so much that these guys aren't in business, but they can destroy a business. Come and do what I had an incident with one, and I dragged him literally by the ears, and I said, mate, get your ass here now and have a look at what I do. Have a look at how hard I work. And you write something bad about me, I can show you thousands of people who love my product, who love Chocolate Johnny, and we do whatever we can. Can I tell you, that guy walked out of there with his tail between his legs and apologized. We have empowered these guys way too much. And I'm not saying don't, write your stuff, but if you've got a complaint, like Vincenzo said, just ring up someone and say, hey, Vincenzo, I know you're in charge of this hotel with that. Can you, I had this problem, mate, can you deal with it? That's it. Don't write it on bloody Facebook where 10,000 people watch it and go, oh, I'm not going there anymore.
I think this kind of highlights another issue for business owners in the social media space, and especially where you're putting yourself out much more vulnerably with your live streams and stuff, and being very accessible, is that you have to understand that a lot of customers are not educated in the space. We know the space very, very well, and so they'll go, oh, you're on Twitter, so it's okay to converse there and to have that conversation. And so there's an extra responsibility now on businesses to educate their own customers in how you'd like to complain. I mean, the best sign I've ever seen in a restaurant is, if you like what we do, tell your friends. If you don't, tell us. So they're open to having and encouraging people to complain, but to do it in the right way and to empower the customer with the right information to know where to do it. Like, we started this conversation with the Snapchat outage. Snapchat's main account posted nothing about the outage. So everyone who's going to complain, where are they going to go? To the main account to complain about it, because they don't know that there's a customer service account that's a separate account. McDonald's does the same thing. Tesco's does the same thing, because they don't want their main account dealing with it. Why not? Why isn't the main account? Because like you said, that as someone who's worked in hospitality for over a decade, I've seen, like you guys, I've seen it all and I've heard it all. And absolutely what Vincenzo's saying about not just giving stuff away. Restaurants get a reputation as, I can go there for a free meal, because I know I'll go, I'll have a 3-course meal, and if I complain, they'll just refund it.
But that's what happened. There's a movie, Tower Heist, I was watching, and Eddie Murphy's in it. And he plays a robber, and they go out to this fancy dinner, him, Ben Stiller, and a couple other guys. And he's like, oh, we can't afford this. Like, we have no money. And Eddie Murphy pulls out like a cockroach or something, and he's like, don't worry, it's on me.
But that's exactly it.
And I'm like, it's funny, but how true is that? Where people know you complain enough, you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. And I respect the brands more that put their foot down, because you can't just let people, I hate to say that, like, you can't just let people win, but if you just give in to everybody's desire, you just become, you will not make money. You are not a business person if you're constantly letting people just run you over.
Yeah. It's important to do it the right way. Like you're saying about people going out and doing the stuff on Twitter, and what John said about how complaints are good, right? Complaints are one of the most powerful weapons for a business if they're handled right and if they're constructive. But we have people who complain not like just for the sake of complaining, because like they're trying to get free things. But going and dealing with complaints, and this is that whole, if you go out and you have a good meal, you're not likely to tell someone. If you go out and have a bad meal and they fix your problem, you'll tell everyone about it. You become an advocate for the brand. And it's the same with brands and other types of businesses, the same sort of thing. And so now with the social space and people complaining online, reviews, things like that, it is when people are getting, I mean, I connected with this guy from this coffee cafe, did my background research on where he'd worked. And I looked back through the places that he'd worked. And the moment he left that restaurant, they started getting 1-star reviews from the customer service side. And I'm like, here's a potential customer, but they haven't responded. So if someone's complaining in a social space, they've got a presence there. And this is, again, why it's really important to look at where you are in the social space. If you haven't got time to broadcast on like 4 platforms, then that's one problem. But not being able to listen on 4 platforms, that's an even bigger problem, because if you're there, people will complain there. If you're not, like, people will complain even if you're not there, but they're more likely to complain to you there. What you said about people tweeting about that problem was there was a hotel handle. Therefore, if you're putting it as a method of communication, I'm going to use it. And that's, unfortunately, it's an education thing for the customer as well.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Well, on my last note, there are guys out there and women out there who are serial complainers and go out every day and, you know, wake up feeling bad and think, let's go down to Chocolate Johnny and complain about my skinny mocha because there wasn't enough chocolate so I can get a free one.
I think with that, though, looking in the social space, I think now you've actually got an opportunity to, like, they're going to complain in the social space, right? And my opinion on that is, if you get that type of customer, invite them to an open conversation in an open forum like Blab, like that. Because if you put that out on, if someone gives you a 1-star review and damns you, and you say, let's have a conversation about it, here it is, everyone can see, and it discredits the 1-star review instantly.
But realistically, most customers see. Here's again, this is marketers thinking like, and I'm not saying what you're saying is wrong.
No.
This is marketers thinking like marketers. We don't live in that vacuum, right? Customers are not rational like that. Customers don't think that way. If a brand said to me, "Oh, come take it out publicly," I'd be like, "No, I'm good." You know, not me personally, but most will say that. And if we could ever get to a point where, before leaving, you know, here I'll put it this way: eBay. Have you guys used eBay before?
Yeah.
Hey,
what's eBay?
Aussie Wine TV, what's going on? Ricky Prime, hit it or quit it, my man. I'll say this. eBay used to allow the sellers to leave feedback on the buyers for the longest time. All of a sudden, they don't allow a seller to leave any feedback on a buyer at all.
Yeah. But that's exactly the reason that if you look at things like all the emerging technologies like your Uber, what happens? You rate them, they rate you. And that's why the technology is so powerful, because it's a very, very fair system and platform. And if you're going to give me one, cool, I can look at that and go, meh. Like, and I can rate you as well. So there's responsibility both ways.
But what, like, shame on someone like eBay for doing that, because it feeds into that. I'm not saying the customer is wrong, but it feeds into that, like, entitlement that many customers feel. And most customers are not business owners, right? Most customers do not know the pains it takes to be a chocolatier in Australia, or to be a service business owner, or to be a restaurant owner. Most don't own businesses. So they think, let me just complain about every little thing because I can. And brands will give in to me. eBay's a perfect example. Sure, you know what? We're not going to allow, as a seller, somebody doesn't want to, deal with me, or they're unreasonable. I can't say a word.
Yeah.
And this is the way that customers are being trained. Again, even with like the hotel chains, this is the way customers are being trained. Any complaint, acquiesce, give them whatever they want, send something to their room, give them a free night, give them a free voucher to drinks. How do you compete?
The customer's always right. That's come back again. For a while it wasn't, but now with social media, that's changed.
Because everybody's afraid of the reviews and the going viral. They're afraid of, oh no, this complaint going viral. Okay, well, what about the good food? Can my good food go viral?
Yeah, I know. Can the mocha that I made you yesterday that you said was the best mocha, you've traveled the world and you came to Australia, why don't you write that instead of writing, I've had a mocha every day, this one wasn't the best? It's like, anyway.
Because that doesn't get likes and favorites and retweets, Johnny.
No, and it doesn't go viral. And it doesn't create a story on Twitter and get me in the newspapers. So Chocolate Johnny made one bad mocha.
So when you look at things, it's also the media that picks up. It's a big circle. We could sit here all day and
all day. I know.
We could find where it's just, it creates this circle of stupidity. But You know, you don't see the media outlets. There are few of those like media outlets that pick up only good things they don't do any negativity, but those aren't very, very popular in the mainstream. So anyway.
All right. On that note, Chocolate Johnny's going to blab out and say goodbye. And once again, thank you again for a conversation that I was only going to be here for 5 minutes. And everyone who was watching.
This is, believe it or not, a 45-minute show that started at 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
so we've done really well today, Vincenzo.
I need to go for sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go. Thanks, guys, for watching, and thanks everyone for all the comments. And sorry if I didn't say hello to everyone, but this is one subject that really gets against my grain, and I appreciate it. Vincenzo, once again, you Italian stallion, love you, brother, and you too, Tristan. See you guys.
Hugs
and kisses to her. Yeah.
We'll catch you soon. Take care, John.
Cheers.
All right, buddy. See you. Periscoping.
Legend.
Thanks a lot.
I'm saying periscoping down. What the hell's wrong with me, man?
You blabbing.
Blabbing out.
Blabbing out.
Blab out. All right,
cool.
Chris, what do you think? We call it a night?
Yeah, I reckon my sushi is calling me that I made this morning. It's sat over there in the fridge, so I'm gonna jump and grab some lunch because it's just coming in for lunchtime. It has been a slightly longer broadcast than normal today, but we appreciate everyone's contributions and time over here at ATN Stream. We do the same time every week, normally 45 minutes, but a very passionate and hot topic today with a lot of tech to talk about issues going on with various platforms that we all use, and lots of good content and contribution here at Blab. If you're not watching this live at Blab, make sure you do come over, check out blab.im/ATW networking, and you can join the conversation live. All you need is a Twitter handle in order to do that. If you're watching this anywhere else, thanks a lot for watching it on the replay. We always appreciate everyone spending the time to listen and engage with us. We'd love to hear your feedback. Use the hashtag ATNStream on Twitter so that we can follow that and engage back with you. And we appreciate you all live, replays, and everyone who's shared and engaged here. Thanks a lot for Johnny. Thanks for Jana for trying to get in despite the tech. And everyone who's contributed this week. And Vincenzo, as always, awesome sharing the screen with you and broadcasting and getting passionate about things that we love.
Likewise.
So I don't know if you've got a call to action you want to chuck out this week before I do.
No, nothing. No, we're good. Vincenzo out as well.
Cool. Awesome. So yeah, I'm not going to drop anything. I think there's loads of stuff in there for you guys to be thinking about. If you want to reach out to either of us, it's obviously at Vincenzo Landino and at ATW Networking on the Twitters. And we'll catch you here on Blab the same time next week.